My name is Ronda Smith, and I'm running for Kansas City, Missouri City Council, 1st District at Large. First and foremost, my number one is public safety. That's the most important thing to me in our city, and for our families, is that we feel safe. And it's not just with police. They try to make it just about police, but when you talk about public safety, you're talking about the EMTs, paramedics, our emergency response systems that are outdated, that we need to fund and get those updated so that we're up with technology. So those kinds of things are very important to me. Of course, the crime in the city is out of control, and it's gotten worse, and we need to address that. So that's number one for me. And number two is the infrastructure of our city. It's crumbling. You can drive around our city and on any street or sidewalk, and you can see that the roads are a mess. There's potholes everywhere. The sidewalks are crumbling. The sewers are not functioning. Some people don't even have sewers. They're still on septic and things like that. So that's what our city services, that's what our dollars are for, and we're not spending it on that. So that's number two. And then number three is accountability at City Hall and in our government, and transparency. I think that we should be able to see and know what's happening with our money. First of all, I'm a very determined kind of person, and I am not afraid to ask the hard questions. When somebody is afraid and timid, you can't get things done. So that's not me. I will stand up and ask those hard questions. And then I am going to be a person that's an advocate for the community, for the people. We are hired by the people to do the job of City Council and to make sure that people are safe. And so, like I said when we were talking privately, I'm not a politician. I'm just like anybody else. I'm like you. I'm a wife. I don't know if you're a wife. I'm a mother. I'm a grandmother. I'm a friend. And I'm concerned about our family and our future of our future generations. Okay, let's talk about the public safety part of it. First of all, we need to fully fund it, and not take money from the funds that are there to make sure that we have those things that we need for our police department, our EMTs, and things like that. So I would like to launch a robust community policing type of program. That's number one. And then number two, when it comes to the infrastructure, is those roads and things that are crumbling. Like I said, that's what our money is for, the basic city services. We've got to make sure that we're not out here damaging our vehicles, which cost us more money, and then we can't pay our rent because we've got to fix a car. So that's important to me, is that our roads and everything are surfaced, that we have good sidewalks for our kids to walk to school on. And so that's number two. And then this is going to scare some people, and it will scare City Hall, and I think that's why they don't want me there. I've had a lot of obstacles in the way of trying to get signs out, get my name out there. I'm going up against, it's a David and Goliath situation for me. But I want to launch a state audit of our city's finances and all the departments in the city. And I want to ensure that all of that money and those funds are being properly allocated, because we know that sometimes the money gets moved around and then things don't get done like they say they're going to do. Because I think that we need to have a fully functioning city government that does what's right for the city and for our families. That's the main thing. When our city council and our mayor went about doing the whole defund the police thing, people don't realize I'm the wife of a retired police officer. He served 26 years on the PD. When they did that broke the spirit of our police department. It really did. I mean, you talk to the officers, and it's like your job. If your employer makes you feel like you're not wanted, that breaks your spirit. You're like, I'm working really hard. I'm doing everything I can, but then your employer doesn't feel like you're doing a good enough job, or you're shirking your duties in some way. So it broke their spirits, right? So now they've pulled away, and they've left, right? They've retired early because they felt like they weren't wanted. We want them. We want to build that relationship back. That's what I want to do. So we've got to do that. And how do we do that? We're going to do that. I'm going to do that by bringing back community policing, which my husband launched back in the 90s when he was a police officer. And community policing is basically, it's the police is the community, and the community is the police, right? So we have to get to know. The police officer has to get to know your community, right? And then the community gets to know the officers. And then, sorry about this, but let's see. And then the relationships between the neighborhoods, it builds the relationship and the rapport where we live and we work, right? So the city needs to be in this equation by not bringing division, okay? Because we know that there is a division there, and we've got to stop the division and bring the community and police together. And I will promote this community policing because it's a constant request from the city. When they do the surveys of the city, that's one of the requests they want. They want their city to be safe. And so how do we do that? We have to bring everybody together in include everybody. And then I know this style of policing is effective because my husband did that. He started it. It was successful. The community loved it. They interacted with the police. They trusted the police. We've got to bring trust back between the community and the police department. And then the key is to make sure that we have the staffing. We've got to have staffing for these officers to do that community policing, because if you don't, they're just going to go call to call to call if we don't have enough officers. So we have to have them fully funded, and maybe then some. And then there's some ways that we can get that funding without taking from other city services that will actually be able to help with bringing our communities together. Okay? So the first 30 days, I'm going to place the request to that state auditor to look over the finances and the expenditures of our city departments and the procedures, and report that, find a report of any misappropriation of spending. We need to know where every dollar is going and how we're spending it. We need to find out ways to suggest revenue savings and better service practices and timeline requests, because we have things that are happening at City Hall where city planning and development is holding back permits from builders and developers. That's costing them money. It shouldn't take a builder to 90 days to get a permit when he can go to another city and get one in a week, and our city makes them wait 90 days. Time is money with these developers and builders, right? Our city wants affordable housing. Well, you can't get affordable housing if you're holding up these guys and saying, it's going to cost you thousands of dollars more because we're holding you up, because you're holding everything else up. So who are they going to pass that down to? They're going to pass that down to me and you, and that's going to cost us more money to live. And that's not what we're looking for as a city. We're trying to make it more affordable housing. We can't have it both ways. And then to help Kansas City save money, we have to run our city more efficiently. We can't have things sloppy. We've got to have accountability and efficiency at City Hall. So that's the first 30 days. 60 days in, I would propose some legislation to secure more funding for the PD and the EMTs and the what I call them, the emergency management service, so we can launch the community policing program. So we can get started on that. This is a critical first step. It's not going to be easy to get this stuff going. It's going to take time, and it's probably going to get worse in our city before it gets better. But if we continue to do nothing and just leave it the way it is, then it's never going to get better. So we have to have a plan in place and not just throw something at it and see if it sticks. So I want to do that and build the trust with the leaders and law enforcement in our city. So that's the 60 days. And then at 90 days, I want to enact on that state auditor's findings to limit wasteful spending and begin reappropriation towards community priorities. And I want to listen to what the community has to say. What I have in my community and what the needs of my district, I live up north, 1st District, right? My community needs something different than what 4th District needs in this area. The needs are different. So I need to listen to each community and see what their needs are and then go with what they need, not stick a Band-Aid on it and say one size fits all. And let me say one last thing, because I know that we are on timeline. The last thing I want to do is I want to look at, and I've already looked at the West Side Can Center. Those guys know how to operate in their community. They know what their community needs. And so our city needs to come alongside them and say, this is what you need, we're going to get it for you. I'm not going to come in as a city official and say, this is what you need, because I know what you need. No, I don't. I know you know what you need. Let's get you what you need.